Today on the Sarah Jane Show, I'm speaking to Ayurveda specialist Dr. Nimisha Borana. There's been so much information floating around the last 2 years about health, immunity, and obscure miracle cures that it's sometimes hard to keep up. So, in this episode, I want to go back to our roots and let Dr. Nimisha take you through the basics of this natural system of medicine called Ayurveda. So, I wanted to talk to you, Nimisha. Dr. Nimisha. It's so weird. I can't call you Dr. Nimisha because you've become sort of almost like a friend to me over the past 2 years now. But I wanted you to explain to us what Ayurveda is all about, because I find that there are a lot of people who are on the fence about trying. I find this interesting that people call Ayurveda alternative therapy alternative medication, when actually it used to be the only medication in our country until allopathic medication came along. But I want you to sort of speak to us about really a quick introduction, like the Ayurveda 101, and tell us really what is Ayurveda.
So basically, Ayurveda was first, I would say, started way long back. It was described in all our Vedas, which is the Yajurveda and Atharva Veda and Samaveda. So it's about more than, I think, 5,000 years ago. And the basic concept of Ayurveda is first heal the body and then make sure that it's always in the healing process, or prophylactic treatment is more the basis of Ayurveda, that you do not contract any diseases and you keep yourself healthy. So it works majorly on three doshas where your body composition is. People know your planet Earth is made up of five components: water, air, fire, all these elements. Similarly, your body is also comprised of three basic doshas, which is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And the entire Ayurveda is based on this, and it is just to balance these three elements of your body, and there you go.
Right. Okay. And also tell us, what is your relationship and why did you choose to make a career out of it?
So, Sarah, to be honest enough, I was, yes, definitely a staunch. I used to practice allopathy very much in the beginning, maybe more than, I would say, 8 years back or 10 years back. I used to practice allopathy. But then I realized people are facing a lot of side effects because of those medications. And I just felt that what if we try Ayurveda in these cases? Because I was working for a well-known hospital in the ICU department, and I had seen young children dying because of all these medical side effects and medicines and everything. So where Ayurveda could have helped, and they wouldn't have lost their lives. That's the time I realized that no, Ayurveda has something in it, and I need to start with that. So I began more on researching about the authentic way of diagnostic treatment in Ayurveda, which is pulse reading. And I found it that through pulse you can know a lot of other things in a person's body, just not physically but mentally, emotionally, and a lot of things. So that's how I connected with Ayurveda.
Yes, I know. I remember the first time I met you and you took my pulse and you looked at me square in the face and you said, you're going to have a throat infection in 3 days. And I was like, and I was still skeptical. I was like, what is this strange black magic stuff that you're on about? And sure enough, in 3 days, I had a throat infection. And I was like, how could you have told that from my pulse? Because when I met you, I was perfectly fine. And then I finally came to you for a session and you were like, oh, this is how you sleep, this is how you eat, this is how you... I'm like, who have you been talking to? Have you been talking to my mother or something? Because there's no reasonable explanation as to why you know this about me. And since then, I've sent my sister to you, my sister's friends have come to you, and everybody comes back with this same expression on their faces. They're like, what did you tell her about me? I'm like, I did not tell her anything. So I'm, of course, I've been using Ayurveda now for 2 years and I have seen a remarkable change in my overall health. So I want to thank you for sort of finding me and me finding you, and Ayurveda finding me as well.
But you have been...
And moving on from that, I wanted to...
Sorry to interrupt. I'm saying
Yes?
that you have been that...
No, go ahead.
I would say, dedicated and compliant towards Ayurveda. That's how you get the result. It doesn't work with single hand. It has to be two other people around.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that for me, when I commit to something, I really commit to it, because I was like, if I'm trying this, I'm going to give it my all, right? Because there's no point in doing it half and half.
Absolutely.
And what I wanted to move on to asking you about is something that has been a hot topic like over the last 2 years, which is immunity, right? So our relationship with immunity as a race has been transformed over the past 2 years. And many people have started exploring alternative medicine practices such as Ayurveda to boost their immunity. Can you tell me what it was like for you during the pandemic as an Ayurvedic practitioner and expert? And what do you feel has been the biggest health priority for everybody?
So, in terms of the pandemic situation, yes, when it started, I deal with a lot of people, expats, I would say. So, in India, COVID situation started in March, but I had patients already from January who they were traveling from Europe and other countries, and they were already scared about this, that how we'll face. So Ayurveda believes a lot in immunity, definitely, and it works. There are different kind of medications for every body type. People had this thing that yes, you drink hot water, you drink a lot of kadas, your immunity is going to rise, but that was not the situation. For every body, there was a different kind of medications required for immunity, a different set of treatment, and I would say a different way of approach. So it's hot water was not an immunity booster or something like that. So first thing about immunity was that you have to take care in your eating habits, your lifestyle, your mental health. If all that is balanced, your immunity is already boosted up. You don't need an additional support of it. Yes, but if you're not eating right, if your lifestyle is bad, even if you take empty number of medications, everything, but they're not going to work. So you have to correct your food and lifestyle according to your body type, and that's how you build up your immunity. Coming on to the pandemic, yes, it was a very stressful situation for everyone. People were very scared. I remember you came in with a face shield and so many things to protect yourself for the first time when I saw you after COVID. So yes, you need to take care. There has to be precautions, yes, but it should not affect your mental health also, because a lot of people have entered some form of anxiety or depression post COVID because of that excessive fear of, either something would happen or it's something which cannot be controlled or something. But yes, if you keep your food, lifestyle, everything healthy, you can sail through any of illnesses really well. So you don't have to worry about it at that much.
So did you find that there was an increasing interest in Ayurveda during the pandemic? Were there more people who were coming forward to try it? Yeah.
Yes. Because there was no, I would say, allopathy treatment which was discovered and people were just trying. There were experiments going on. Because there was no exact treatment, then they wanted to try different approaches, homeopathy, Ayurveda, all the other alternative therapies which they believe they were blooming up. Even yoga or naturopathy, they were trying everything.
Yeah, I think everyone was just scrambling to find some sort of a way to cure, help, cope. I think that also in tune with this, what is happening is there was a lot of misinformation. So there was just like a lot of WhatsApp forwards of just crap information, and a lot of people claiming that things were organic and Ayurvedic and, this can help boost your immunity, that can help boost your immunity. I remember reading about Giloy, about people brewing Giloy leaves and drinking the tea and then landing up having liver toxicity. Because you can't literally just go up to any plant and, obviously if you go to an Ayurvedic doctor, there are certain permutations and combinations for certain herbs and the way they're mixed and then given to you. I myself saw a lot of these forwards and I rolled my eyes at it. But what's your take on all of this? What was your take when it was going on?
So that's what I was trying to say, that people always thought that all kadas are working, or you just keep sipping all possible spices in your tea and that's going to help you. But that's what it is. It doesn't help like that. And a lot of WhatsApp forward has really, even in the case of Giloy, which caused liver toxicity in few people, they were because their body was not meant for Giloy and they were just taking it Giloy, and people don't realize where to stop. If Ayurveda has a treatment, if it's giving you some result, it definitely, every effect has another side effect kind of a thing, or every effect has an effect. So it doesn't work like that. To actually practice Ayurveda, you need to know what's your body and what's your body requirement. Then only you can just pop in anything. People just pop in Shatavari, Ashwagandha, which is very common names which are used in our day to day. Tulsi. They might just take aloe vera, but they don't realize that their body is not going to go with all Ayurvedic systems. People just take home remedies. They'll be like cumin seeds and fennel seeds, and we take methi, fenugreek, cinnamon, everything, but that's not how it works. For every body, it's different, and every body requires a certain way, certain time, certain way, like a catalyst kind of a thing. So you have to correct it in that form. You can't just keep taking everything and you feel, oh, you're going to be a Superman one day. That's not possible. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. What is the most funniest thing or funniest misconception that you've heard about Ayurveda? Like from any of your patients, maybe.
Lemon and hot water together with honey. So Ayurveda.
Why is this funny?
Ayurveda clearly mentions it. It's like on the first day of Ayurveda, I would say, in the medical college. The first thing they said that honey and lemon and hot water cannot be had together. But then when people come and they say that, oh, we have hot water and honey and lemon together, and I'll be like, no, you cannot have that. No, but it's Ayurvedic. It's said, no, it's very good for your health. But according to Ayurvedic principles, honey cannot be mixed with anything hot. Even if we use honey in Chavanprash or any other kinds of medicines, we make sure the substance is cool to the room temperature and then honey is mixed, because the properties of honey gets destroyed and it becomes more poisonous and other things. So it reacts with your body in a different way.
This is something that I learned when I went to an ashram for my birthday a few years ago, and I used to have this honey, lemon, and because I was like, I'm cleaning the toxicity in my body. And one of the people who lives in the ashram, basically, I used to wake up, we had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I would wake up by 4:30, and then I would stumble my way down and go to get my kettle and one morning he looked at me, he's like, "Aap ye kyun kar rahe ho?" He said, "Aapka वजन तो ठीक है और ये वैसे भी आपके लिए ठीक नहीं है." So I was like, why? So then he explained this to me. He said, when you mix honey with hot water, it actually kills all the benefits of it and it becomes poisonous. And I was just like, wow, I did not know that. But yeah, there is a lot of misconception, misunderstanding out there. And I think people should really inform and educate themselves. And I think the basic fundamental thing about what you're saying and about what I've been saying for a very long time is that I talk about this with reference to nutrition, is that just because someone else is following a particular nutrition plan does not mean it's going to work for you. So because everybody's body, just like everybody's mind, is so unique. It's like the lines on the palm of your hand. No two people have the same lines on the hand. And that's why your constitution, is very different from the other person. So you have to really figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Like I figured out the hard way that I'm a lot better off eating rice than eating roti because it just suits my system better. But thank you for clarifying that and telling us about this whole honey situation. So over the pandemic, we've seen a lot of efforts being put in, by the frontline health workers to make sure that we are safe. We've also seen the wonders of modern medicine. It's just been fabulous what's been happening. And we've seen how it's sort of helped many people fight the battle against COVID. At the same time, we've heard much about the benefits of Ayurveda. So for someone who isn't fully ready to move into an exclusively Ayurvedic practice, what would you say? What is the best way to sort of transition? Is there a way to do both for some time and then transition fully? Or like, what do you do? Because I'm sure a lot of people who come to you are kind of like the Crocin popping, Allegra popping type. I know so many of these people, right? Headache hua, Crocin. Allergy hua, Allegra, right? I mean, I've been that person. I know better now. And now only if I can't reach out to something natural and if it's a desperate situation, then only will I take an allopathic pill. So what do you recommend to people like this? Sort of people who are on the fence and who want to try Ayurveda?
So basically, first, who want to try these SOS medicines like Crocin or Allegra or something, Ayurveda has substitute for all of these. So it has a substitute even for a paracetamol or a headache or even an anti-allergy. It has all the medicines are there in Ayurveda. Yeah, but people who are on the other comorbidities like diabetes or blood pressure or any of these illnesses, so we do not directly stop the medications what they are on. It's a gradual transition. Yes, you try to correct their food, their lifestyle, make sure that the body is coming in balance, then slowly, steadily taper it off, making sure checking their blood pressures on time, taking their sugar readings, managing that, making sure that their body is getting the blood reports are done well in time, and they see a black and white difference. So when they see the difference, they are confident enough, and then the patient only should say that, yes doctor, I'm ready to reduce my medicine load. So that's how it works. It's not like, oh, you come to an Ayurveda, he's just going to stop all the allopathy medications and he's just going to start with Ayurveda. It doesn't work. It's a I would say a holistic approach. Both are needed at the time. So if a person with extremely high sugar levels and comes to an Ayurveda, no, we do also start that. No, you need a support of allopathy till that time, till we correct your food and lifestyle and your physical, balance it out, and then eventually, yes, the moment he's better, he's taking care of himself, he's understood his body type, then we tell him, okay, now you can taper it off, like making it alternate days, half or something like that, and that's how you can go through it. So Ayurveda for SOS things, it's there. It's like you have a fever medicine in Ayurveda. You have vomiting, you have a medicine for that. You have loose motions, you have a medicine for that. You have a medicine for everything because it's been there since ages. Earlier, when there was no allopathy formed, or the age of allopathy medications didn't come in, it was only Ayurveda where people used to survive. So, but it's I wouldn't say it's a thing that you can just hang on. If a person is in a cardiac arrest, I can't tell him, "Arey, no, you have to take an Ayurvedic medicine." It doesn't work like that. You have to visit. Right. You have to visit a hospital. You have to take the necessary measures. So it's basically a combined approach.
I'm so glad you said that, I'm so glad you said that, because I'm sure there are so many people listening out there who are skeptical and criticize the practices of certain Ayurvedic doctors and certain alternate medical practitioners, because they're very extreme in their approach. And I don't think that's really helping anyone, because what you've said is a much more practical approach, according to me. And this is what you've done. And I've seen this firsthand, what you've done with my mother, and with her diabetic medication, with her blood pressure medication, and how you've tapered it off, and how she's on barely anything right now. And she's 70 plus. So I know, and I believe very firmly in what you're talking about, because I've seen it happen firsthand. And I've also seen the subtle changes that you've made gradually over a period of time in her diet and her lifestyle as well. So I've seen a big change. And of course, it's a combination of things. So like, because I started her off on Ayurveda with you, I also then slowly made her start doing pranayam and some amount of yogic practices as well. So it's a combination of things. Like you said, it's a holistic approach that then eventually reaps the benefits. So I think that it's safe to say that a little bit amount of patience is also required with yourself, because it's for the long term, it's for the long haul, it's for the long game, right? You don't want to sort of find a cure right now and immediately and then suffer the consequences of it a few years down the line. Speaking of suffering consequences, we've all had major consequences on our mental health over the last 2 years because of the pandemic. I just want to know, does Ayurveda tackle any mental health issues as well?
Yes, it does tackle a lot of mental health. I would say there's a complete branch in Ayurveda.
How does it tackle?
Medicines is one part, but definitely counseling also is required. With counseling, your medicines go on. So it helps in the way it doesn't sedate you. It doesn't sedate you. It just makes sure that whatever you sleep, for just example, if a person is having sleep issues because of this entire 2 years of the entire pandemic situation or something, it will just make sure that whatever sleep you get is sound deep enough that it makes you fresh. or if you're getting a lot of thoughts or a lot of negative thoughts, it will just make sure the intensity of it is much lesser. I wouldn't say it just switches it off. It takes time. You need to have patience, and gradually, and yes, a lot of counseling is required. You have to boost up the person, make sure that he's into the happy mood, or his comfort zone. If that happens, eventually the medicines go very well with the entire this mental state part, because it's just not physical.
Right. So again, you're saying it's a holistic.
It's
yeah,
a holistic,
exactly. It's a holistic approach,
it's
right?
a holistic.
Which is again something that, as somebody who is, I've taken medication for depression and anxiety, and I remember speaking with you at that point in time, and I remember you didn't discourage me from taking it. You just said that we need to work on a plan to get you off it, and now I'm on the minimal dosage of it. And you have sort of complemented the Ayurvedic medication such that it has taken me to a point where, let's say I started at how many ever mg of medication, now I'm at a very low dose and on my way of weaning off of it completely. And I remember at that time having sleep issues, having an overworking mind. And I remember when I first started taking the allopathic medication, I did feel drowsy and I did feel like, lethargic, and like there's a part of me that was just switched off and I didn't enjoy it at all. Of course, mine was a very mild case of depression and anxiety, but I know that, like you said, if it's something that's severe, then I'm guessing that you go down the allopathic way, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So, Nimisha, in conclusion with this entire sort of interview, as I said, my main intention was for people to hear this and understand that they do have another option in Ayurveda for taking care of their health or any health issues they have, or general upkeep of where they are in life. So what would you say are the 3 things that people can start doing as soon as they finish this episode to boost and maintain their immunity the Ayurvedic way? Now, I know you're going to say that everybody's got a different dosha, so it's different for different people. But are there any sort of common Ayurvedic practices that are 100% good for every dosha?
So, you can try sleeping on time, first thing. So, every body requires sleeping on time is a major
That's
thing.
hardly an Ayurvedic practice, Nimisha.
No, but if you...
That's sort of common sense.
But if you
isn't it?
sleep
That's
on
just like-
time, you're going to wake up in Brahma Muhurat, which is, at least an hour before the sunrise. That's a common thing for everyone. But it's not possible in our day-to-day Mumbai life, which is very tough.
Yeah.
But eating
Yeah.
a early dinner
Yeah.
is also a part of Ayurveda. Making sure you keep your stomach empty for at least 10 hours in the night and not keep binging or not drinking water. That is also one of them. It's a small beginning or a small practice. Drinking first thing in the morning at least a glass of water without brushing your teeth is also a small practice of Ayurveda. So yes, people have this concept, copper water, this water. No, but even if you drink a normal room temperature water first thing in the morning as soon as you wake up is good. What else you can say? There are, as you know, Sarah, it's different for different personality. But eating healthy, eating sattvic is all small practices. Yes, not keeping large gaps in your meals is also one of the practice. So all this is Ayurveda, I would say. What else? You know much better. You are into Ayurveda so much.
I have to ask the question because I'm such a big fan of this. I'm such an Amla girl. What's your take on Amla? Is it good for everybody?
I would say Triphala is good for everybody more than Amla.
Triphala is good for everybody.
Triphala is good for
those
everybody.
of you who don't know what Triphala is, just look it up.
So Triphala...
Yeah, just look up what Triphala is, and...
Triphala works for all body types. So you can start with Triphala.
Triphala works for all body types. Okay. Right, great. So Triphala works for all body types. I'm a big Amla girl. So I think just to conclude, I want to just ask this question. If someone wants to start getting into Ayurveda and Ayurvedic practices, how do they start? Where do they start?
In what sense? I didn't get your question. Like, how do they start?
In the sense that do they start consulting with an Ayurvedic doctor? Should they read a book? Should they... I mean, those are the only 2 options that I can think of. But like I said, for somebody who's... Yeah.
Nowadays online you get a lot of questionnaires, to just know your prakriti or your doshas, so they can, if they do not have a nearby Ayurveda consultant or a physician who's practicing pure Ayurvedic, they can definitely go through those questionnaires, understand their body type, because in the end they'll give you, this is your body type or this is your prakriti. So then they can read upon that what's their prakriti, what food, what lifestyle are required.
Understood.
So they can do that. And second,
Understood.
definitely meet any Ayurvedic physician nearby or a consultant and get themselves checked what's their health status, how to improve their health, because at the end what we want is not only disease free body, but yes, a healthy life ahead. It's just not just disease, it's your health also, which is important.
We don't want you to just survive. We want you to thrive, right?
Yes.
There's no point in just getting through the day. You want to live it to the fullest. But listen, thank you so much for this interview. If you were on the fence about Ayurveda, I hope my conversation with Dr. Nimisha Borana gave you some insight on what the basics of this practice really are and how you can get started on your Ayurvedic journey today. And when it comes to immunity, as Dr. Nimisha said, it's really about maintaining healthy eating habits, exercise routine, sleep schedule, and mental health to keep your immunity at the optimum level, which is so important during these times that we're in. So don't forget to head to Figoco for some more feel-good vibes. That's FEGOCO on Instagram.